Good morning. So my topic for today, I was thinking, what are we going to talk about this morning? And I thought, let's talk a little bit about the power of positive thinking versus worrying. Could have also titled this episode Mindset. You know, it's kind of a big buzzword these days, right? What's your mindset? And to me, that's a little bit more vague than what I see is people that just worry about so many things. I have a lot of friends who are very smart people, but they just naturally have a tendency to worry and to stress themselves out. I know some who have the world before them, and yet somehow in the back of their minds, the world is really out to get them. They're very suspicious, and literally anything you do, you feel like no good deed goes unpunished. These people are out there where you're thinking, man, why are they so in their own head all the time? And you know what? Some of these people will say to me, well, so-and-so's going to do this or this or this or this. My answer is always, so what? So what? So what if they do? There's a very good chance, and sometimes I'm naive about things, and there's a good chance that you may be right. I might be wrong about that, but I know one thing, it's not going to do any good to worry about it, and there's a good chance it won't happen. And my thought is, I've many times said, only half jokingly, what are you worrying for? Because whatever you think is going to happen, it's going to be something else. It's not going to be whatever you spent your time worried about. So, so just don't. If you're always worried about somebody breaking in, and you're always worried about that door, that deadbolt, and all of that, maybe somebody's going to rip your car off. Or if you're always I'm always having to worry about, am I going to lose my signal? And most times the answer is yes. Obviously, I'm not too worried about it. So, which brings up a question I've been wondering. What do y'all think? Should I stick with the live format even though the video quality is horrible and it loses signal constantly? Or should I just record them and post them with better quality? I'm open to either. Depends on, I guess, your aesthetic preferences. In any event, I give Wes such grief all the time because he's always, every time we get out of the car, we live in Fredericksburg. We're not huge lockers around here. And so I was like, do you have the key? You have the key to the car? And I was looking around going, what are they going to take? What is in this car? There's nothing in the car for them to even take. But it makes him happy, so I try to go along. So my thought is, whatever it is you're concerned about is not what's going to happen. And he will be the first to tell you, do you know how many times he loses his wallet, like right now, or his keys, or whatever else it is? And he goes, and today he goes, I know it's because I put it somewhere. I feel like I put it somewhere trying to hide it, trying to be careful with it. And so he ends up losing his own wallet. I'm like, so what are the odds of that happening versus, it's the self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, I'll have a breakfast burrito and a large Diet Coke. I'm hungry this morning, sorry. Okay. So in any event, the Bible tells us who by worrying can add a cubit to his life. And it talks about, the sparrow, the lilies of the field, they don't worry about what they have. The Lord knows what they need and sees to it that we have what we need. So my thought is, good things are going to happen and bad things are going to happen, and I'm going to always assume good, because when the bad happens, that's okay. It's going to come, and it's going to come unexpectedly anyway. What I don't want to do is spend the other 99% of my life unhappy and worrying about what could happen in that 1%. And I find a lot of people do that. They're always worried about what's going to happen instead of going, hey, what if something goes well? What if something goes right? And I think that's a important distinction. Coco's due for some grooming here, so okay, little beans. I got some really cute pictures of her this morning, y'all, in the closet, flat out on her back. So I'll post those later today. They were pretty awesome. So in any event, my main thing I want to let you know today is I'm a big believer in positive thinking, and I'm a big believer in assuming people are trying to do the right thing even when it comes out wrong, and they may be doing it for the wrong reason, or they may do the wrong thing, but it makes me happier. I live a happier life if I assume the best until I can't. So that would be my one tip. Assume the best until you can't, and until it's in front of your face that people are doing you wrong. And even then, I'll still, in my mind, I'll say, well, maybe they meant well. Again, it makes me happier. Let's talk about road rage for a minute. Have you ever been behind a really slow car? And let's face it, you're going to get to your destination either at the same time, because you end up at the same red light, right? We've all been there. Or maybe you get there 30 seconds later. But what did it do to your stress level, your blood pressure, your overall state of well-being for those moments that you were stuck behind that car? It happens to all of us. So here's how I deal with that so that I'm not so unhappy about the situation. Many times I've literally been behind a car and I'll say, you know what? I'm going to assume, how would I feel if somebody were in my position and that, go with that perfume we got smelling. And what if that were my mom or some older person that I really care about that's driving really slow in front of them? How would I want people to treat them? Would I want them to be up on their bumper? Now, this person may not be that at all. They may be a jerk. But just, it makes me feel better if I can picture that person being someone sympathetic. Someone I'm like, well, if that were my mom driving, I wouldn't want people to do that. Now put yourself in the reverse. Have you ever had somebody about run you off the road and you're thinking, where's that nutcase going? And that can literally ruin your mood for several minutes. And you know, minutes in life are precious. So what I tell myself if someone does that, maybe he just got the call that his wife is in labor, he's trying to get to the hospital. Maybe someone's had an accident and he's trying to get there and help out. Again, that may not be true. He may just be a jerk. But it makes me feel better if I try to tell myself something a little more sympathetic that person may be going through. So these are just little tricks I use to always kind of stay positive and even kill. May not be true, but if it makes my life happier, then I think it's a positive thing, and we ought to all give it a whirl. Now, one of my favorite stories, y'all laugh.
Sweet 217.
Yeah, 30. One of my favorite stories is sometimes my mom used to drive. We used to live out in the country, about 8 or 10 miles. But it took about 15 minutes or so to get out there. And sometime my mom would pick up the kids and bring them out for me. She was already in her early 80s at this point. She would drive her little car, take them out there out of the country, and sometimes, you know, she wouldn't be driving super fast. I mean, not crazy bad, but, you know, it was on a highway, so sometimes there would be cars going a little fast, getting a little impatient, like we all do, kind of right up on her tail. Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. I love this story. So, one time, we're driving out to the country ourselves, and somebody's going really slow. And, the girl's dad, Barry, we were in the car, all of us together that time, and he's just right up on going, man, what is this person's problem? Why are they going so slow? And I love it. Celie was probably about 9 or 10, maybe 11 at the time. She looks at me, she goes, you know, there's two sides of this story. And we're like, what are you talking about? She goes, I've been on this road in the car with Mimi, with people coming really fast on her. So whereas you're saying, what's wrong with this person? Why are they going so slow? The person in that car is going, who's this nut and why are they barreling down on me? Get away from me, get around. I laugh every time I think about that story. I just absolutely love it because it's so true. Is it not true? Is it not true that everything has two sides? So that little person in that little car going is going, you nut, just go around. I'm doing the best I can. And we're barreling down going, you lunatic, get off the road. So there's two sides to everything, my friend. So if you will just put yourself in that position of saying, you know, this is probably an older person who maybe can't see that well to make the turns and they're just trying to be careful. How would I feel if that were my mom or my grandma in that car? Would I want somebody barreling up on them? Have you ever done this? This is another example of road rage. I don't know how we got into this, but you know how our drives go. But it's still mindset and positive thinking. I still remember this. And how does this make sense, people? We are just going around, this guy's going too slow on the road, on the same highway, but coming back from curve at one time. We go to pass him, and we're looking at him just like, what is your deal? Why are you going so slow? Have you ever done this? You look over there, and you recognize them, it's somebody you know, and they're looking at you like, why are you going so fast? And all of a sudden it's like, hey. And the fact that you know them, all of a sudden it's like, hey, no. And I remember being like, oh, well, how are we ever going to face him again? And I remember seeing that guy and being like, oh, yeah, sorry about that thing on the road the other day. So my point being, how come it wasn't so serious once we knew the person in the car and we know they're not crazy and they're a nice person? All of a sudden, it wasn't nearly so horrible that they were going 10 miles an hour slower than we would have cared for. And the fact that we wanted to get around wasn't nearly so serious to them either. Once they knew, oh, it's y'all. Okay, y'all are pretty cool. So that's one of my favorites. Hope y'all got a kick out of that. I won't keep y'all this morning, but if you've got any input on mindset, any tips for people on how you stay positive in the midst of difficult situations, you know, if you can become that steady person then people will look up to you. You will have positive influence on them. It's kind of like what I talked about yesterday. People who can keep their cool and see both sides of something. People learn to look to that, because we all need an anchor when things are going badly, right? So you can be that person, but you have to stay positive. And doesn't mean you can't get mad about something, but it means, you know, you have to have rational thought, and you don't get too mired down in it. As my mom said, even when things go wrong, we only go so far down. We don't let this destroy our day, our week, or whatever, because my first thought is, okay, this is happening. How can I compartmentalize this thing and have positive actions, thoughts, and vibes throughout my day? And be at the end of the day and go, you know what? This happened, but I set it aside, and I got this, and this accomplished, and I moved forward. Because if we aren't careful, we can all attestify, right? That, or attest, rather. Attestify is not a word. We can all attestify that we've all ruined huge blocks of productive time, mired in drama that was stupid, and even maybe at that moment, maybe there was some value to it, but maybe it needed 15 minutes of our day, and we gave it 2 hours. Okay, so let's just pledge to one another. If there's something we got to deal with, let's keep it to the appropriate amount of our productive time. Because let me tell you guys, I got a lot on my plate today. Signing a new listing on Main Street. Got to get that sucker up and live. Got people coming in to interview for this really important sales manager role, which is a huge, huge undertaking for us. Got to get my speech finished for the Bahamas for technology and real estate. Finally got travel arrangements taken care of. Got some more work to do on our EXP Realty move that we're super excited about, and lots of other things, including paperwork for the tax audit. But you know what? It's going to be a great day, and we only have so many hours in the day, and we're going to make the most of it. So say goodbye to me and the beans for today. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Give Coco Bean some love. Say bye, Cokie. Yeah, she's done.